In the early years of the 19th century, American settlers pushed westward, driven by the promise of fertile lands and the vision of national expansion. This relentless advance inevitably ignited a clash between natives and the United States government. On November 7, 1811, tribal warriors launched an attack on the American forces encamped on the banks of Wildcat Creek, near the confluence of the Wabash and Tippecanoe rivers. The fighting lasted for 2 hours and was fierce. 1 out of every 5 men who fought was either injured or killed. The conflict that day has come to be known as the Battle of Tippecanoe. On one side of the brewing storm between American settlers and native tribes, there stood William Henry Harrison, the ambitious governor of the Indiana Territory. On the other side was Tecumseh, the charismatic and visionary Shawnee chief. Following the 1809 Treaty of Fort Wayne, which required Indian tribes to sell 3 million acres of land to the American government, Tecumseh decided to organize a strong resistance. Alongside his brother Tenskwatawa, Tecumseh forged a powerful confederacy of native tribes, united in their determination to resist the settlers. Where Tecumseh provided political and military leadership, his brother led a revival of traditional native ways. Tenskwatawa considered Americans evil. He called for a return to native practices and a prohibition on relating to white settlers, no trade, no use of American customs, and the removal of European livestock. They were to give up alcohol and eat only food grown by natives. So effective was Tenskwatawa's preaching and example, he came to be known as the Prophet. Together, the brothers dreamt of an alliance among native tribes, who would be a bulwark against American settlement and take a stand for their ancestral way of life. Under the leadership of the two brothers, natives from all over Ohio and the Indiana and Illinois territories gathered near what is today Lafayette, Indiana. They called the place Prophetstown. Tecumseh used Prophetstown as a base and continued to recruit natives to his confederation. Under orders from President James Madison, Harrison aimed to enforce the Treaty of Fort Wayne and dismantle Tecumseh's growing influence. Harrison had grown especially concerned about the Prophet's role in reviving native practices. With a force of approximately 1,000 regulars and militia, Harrison marched into the heart of the Confederation's domain, establishing an encampment a mere half-mile from Prophetstown, the native spiritual and political center. Wary of a surprise attack, Harrison organized his troops in a defensive posture. On November 7, 1811, in the pre-dawn darkness, the Prophet's warriors launched a sudden and furious assault. Despite being caught off guard, Harrison quickly rallied his troops. For 2 agonizing hours, the fate of the frontier hung in the balance. Though initially staggered, the American lines held firm. As daylight broke, the Native American warriors began to falter. By morning, the fighting had ceased. Prophetstown was burned to the ground. Though tactically a draw, the battle was a strategic victory for Harrison. The Prophet's credibility was shattered, and the Confederacy of Tribes suffered a near-fatal blow. Tippecanoe became a rallying cry for American expansionists and a significant precursor to the War of 1812. The Battle of Tippecanoe accelerated the push for Western expansion. The failure to fend off the settlers shattered the dream of a lasting Native American confederation. The strategic victory propelled William Henry Harrison to national prominence. As for Tecumseh, sensing that the tribal defense alone could not stem the tide of American settlers, he formed an alliance with the British at the start of the War of 1812. The native chief was given the rank of Brigadier General. On October 5, 1813, Tecumseh's army of native warriors was defeated by Harrison and his American forces at the Battle of the Thames in Ontario. Chief Tecumseh died that day. During the War of 1812, Tenskwatawa fled to Canada, where he remained until 1825. When he returned to America, he led his band of natives to Kansas as part of a resettlement plan. William Henry Harrison will go on to run for president twice. He lost in 1836, but won in 1840 with vice presidential candidate John Tyler by his side. Their campaign slogan was Tippecanoe and Tyler Too. On March 4, 1841, Harrison was inaugurated. 3 weeks later, he fell ill. He died on April 4, 1841, ending what is still the shortest presidency in American history.